Hi, it's Wim from Model Systems, and today we look at how to create an Erven file for use when you create a cadastral plan. Now to start, you would have prepared your CAD information up to a point where you have got clean CAD that snaps onto each other. You have got all the DTM points required, and you've also got your surrounding data entered into the project. For preparing the CAD and points, watch our video on CAD and points data preparation for Erven file. Isolate the layers that you only view the main figure and Erfs with their numbers. On the cadastral menu, Erven file tool or shortcut F6. The only option that you can start with will be File New, Open or Recent. You will see that the program recommends a specific name, which is the same name as your project file name. We recommend keeping this name. It is just to keep all the information together. There are a few ways that you can input data into the Erven file tool. One of the uncommon ways of doing it will be to enter it manually. Type a point name, enter, and you will see the program automatically calculates the dimensions and places all the coordinate data in the fields. You will see the pink outline of the figure on the CAD. I will clear this figure and start over. The preferred method is to do it visually. Use the Select Data from Main CAD Screen button on the top. The Click Erf option will default to the DTM snap mode. Use your mouse. You can now click on the DTM points of the figure that you want to load into the Erven file tool. At the bottom left, the program shows the snap that is picked up, point name and the coordinate value. When points are close to each other, you can now see which one is picked up by the snap. Then click on Accept to read the defined figure into the Erven file. I clear the figure again, and this time I will show you the Grab Erf option. The snap mode will automatically change to free. Notice that if you click on the Erf number, the program puts the text in the figure description and Erf number fields. Let's clear the figure one more time and start with our Erven file main figure. You can decide how you want to select the main figure. For now, I will use the Grab Erf and click below the main figure. You will see that now we have got the main figure, which we just defined, highlighted in pink. You can define the highlight color here. It is just there to show you which figure we are working with. Then you visually got it on the screen to see where it's located in the bigger picture. It will trace the main figure line. Just confirm your result. Now to finish the main figure, we give a figure description. Usually the main figure Erf number is 0, so that it always puts the main figure as the first figure in the list. Our figure selection is main figure. It is a closed figure, so you do not check this. Line type solid and width 0.35 mm and choose your pen color. The next step would be to enter all the Erven data we have defined on the general plan. When you have Erven numbers, CAD and DTM, the program can automatically go and define the Erfs for you within the main figure. To do this, we go to Tools, search for Figure Data in CAD Layout. You will immediately see that the file now consists of 58 Erven definitions. That means the main figure plus 57 Erven figures. To get an overview of what is going on in the file, we can go to Display File Definitions. It will show you the current active main figure, and then we can go Display the total content of the file, which will show you that we have all the Erf definitions inside this form. You go back to Figure Definition, and then we are once again back at the definition side of Figure 1. Now, after you have defined the main figure in the Erven file, you will get to things like your servitude, indicatory, connecting data, and block corners. A particularly important thing to remember is that each figure can have its separate servitude, indicatory, and connecting data, which we call type 1 data. We have got a definition called type 2, which is trig beacons and reference marks. We have our block corners, and then we've got a tab to input sectional title information. These tabs will change every time you change the figure, so if we go to figure number 2, you can now link different sets of servitude and trig beacons. For that reason, we recommend that you always place your block corners, servitude, indicatory, connecting, reference marks, and trig beacons that are related to the general plan under your main figure. On the main figure, go to type 1. We are going to link some survey data to it. To do that, you have to create a new section, so go to Edit, New Type 1 Definition. Or you can also use the Ctrl-A shortcut key to create a new block. You will see that we've got a current data section. Give it a name, Serve Data. The heading text is the heading that will be displayed on the plans itself. The definitions will be set to a default value as you use the program. For my servitude data, I am using a dotted line, 0.25 and pen number 3. The program will remember this from my previous settings. If you want to use an Afrikaans template or any other language, you will have to type in the heading in that specific language. For this plan, we can once again go select data from main CAD screen, and I can now go and I can just click on my servitude points. For a single line servitude, I click back on the first point that it adds both points in the table. We've now got our servitude data filled in. Delete the distance and direction on the second row, then it will not plot in the servitude table. On the next tab, we are now going to add our trig beacons and our reference marks. Before I continue, I will just add trig beacons to my data set. Currently there are no trigs in my data. The program can read the trigs out of SurveyMaker's trig file and display them on Google Earth. You can then choose the trigs you want to use and add them to your active data set. They will display on the main CAD screen together with your other points. Back to the Erven file that was minimized. Go to Edit, New Type 2 Definition, and say this is trigonometrical beacons. Rename it to a short description trig so that I know what is in this specific section. On Show In, you have got 3 options. You can show the trig beacons only in the coordinate data block, on the plan, or in both the coordinate block and the plan. The trigs we only want in the coordinate block. We type them in manually, or if the name is too long, edit the point and copy the name. Once the name is in, enter or tab through to the next line. You can also type it in by trig number. If we look at the columns, the point number will be displayed on the plan. The coordinates, as you see it here. The pattern which will be used to display the trigs will be a T, which is our cadastral code for trig beacon. The point name is the name in the database. Then the plan name field text, which will be displayed in your cadastral plan. The reference marks and trigs, which can also be used on your plans. After defining the trigs, we define the reference marks, so add a new type 2 data section. This second section we call reference marks. And we can just once again give it a short description, ref marks. I want the reference marks to be on the figure and the coordinate block, but I want the option to switch them off. The reason I do this is I want to show them on the general plan, but later when we do the small scale diagram, I want to be able to switch the reference marks off. Then I don't want them to be displayed on the figure itself. Type in your reference mark name and tab or enter. Next we go to our block corner tab. It works the same. We go to Edit, New Block Corner Definition. We define a figure. Now first, what we need to do is just display what we need. I only want to view the street and main figure lines. Your layer names might differ from mine. We use the option Grab Erf. I can now click inside the polygon and the program will see that as an Erf and bring in the points on the boundaries automatically. Let us clear the block corners we just added and start over. Grab Erf again, but this time click below the block close to the boundary line. As you can see, the same result as before. We also have an automatic option. Let us clear the block we just added and start over. This option, Import Block Corner Points, allows the program to automatically, based on the points, surveyed name and cadastral code, group the blocks together and add them in automatically. So if you took the time to add your block corner points with the sequential name and for each block, like A1, A2, A3 and B1, B2, etc., and all their cadastral codes B, this function will do the rest. If you look, we now have 3 block corners and we can just change the names. The lines drawn from the first to last points are wrong and indicates that these blocks should be open figures. Change this one to be an open figure. Now the display file definition display the block corners correct. Once again, we've got line type settings for our block corners, which will be defaulted to the last one that you used for the block corners. Let's save the file with what we did up to now. So, if you go back to figure definition, to sum up, we've got multiple figures of different types. We have got the main figure that can have some servitude, indicatory and connecting data, some trig beacons and reference marks. Block corners, and they are all specific to the main figure. If we go to figure 2, you'll see that the figure 2 and Erf figure has no servitude, no trig and no block corners. Remember that for every figure you can link specific information to it, and when you are doing a general plan, it's important to link your block corners, servitude, trig beacons and reference marks to the main figure. Now final checks will be all line types. On our main figure, we have got the correct line types here. On our Erf figure, I want to make it a little bit thinner. As soon as I make a change, the program will ask you, would you like to update all the Erf figures? If I go through the file, all the Erf figures will look the same. On our type 1, line types are fine, headings are fine. On our type 2, our trigs, and you'll see that we've entered all the information correctly. Then on our block corners, we have got block A, B and C, and the line types are also correct. This assures us that the line types are right and the figure definitions are right. You can visually verify it by going to the display file definitions. You will see that if we display the total content, we see the whole picture. Now once you're sure you've got all your definitions in the file, You can then go and assign the new plan names that will be used on your general plan. The program can automatically assign it to you based on your settings. Go to Options and Point Naming Setup. First select which name you want to set up. The program will remember your settings for each one. Let's start with the main figure. We've got the initial naming format. You can choose just numbers or single, double or triple characters. If you choose double characters, it can be a character combined with a number, so most of the time we're working with this. We've got our excluded characters, where you can type in the characters that you don't want to include. That would be separated by space or comma characters. The alphabetical range, the maximum range will go from a lowercase a to a capital letter Z. And defining our main figure, we're limiting it to capital A to capital Z. The primary incremental can either be the numerical range or the alphabetical range. The primary incremental will be the range that gets increased every time a new point name is required. For example, with the primary incremental being alphabetic, it will go from A, B, C, D, E, F up to Z. When we reach the end Z, we'll go over and add a number so that it will become A1, B1, C1, D1 because the alphabet is the primary incremental. If you make your numeric the primary incremental, the program will start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When it reaches the end, it will go to 1A, 2A, and so on. You'll have to play around with these features to get the specific naming that you want to use. We already have point names that we allocated, and to use those you need to tick this option. For the block corners, I also copy the survey names over to plan name columns. If I did not allocate names and want the program to do that, the block corners will start with the numerical range always on, and it will be A1, B1, C1. When we're doing the block corners, I want to increase the alphabetic range every time I get a new block. So this is what this setting is for. The result will be A1, A2, A3, A4. When I get to block B, it will be B1, B2, B3, B4, and so on. Type 1 point names, I also use the survey names. For my figure, I'm using the lowercase alphabet. If I now click close, you can say generate plan names for and all the figures, and we're going for restart naming for each figure. Then on the main figure and type 1, we've got surveyed names filled in. My Trigs and my reference marks, they stay the same because we defined their names manually. For my block corners, for block A we've got A1 codes, for block B we've got B1, and for block C, C1 codes. You'll see that the program now has done the whole naming convention for us right through the file. You can also, if you want to, just make sure that the areas and that your dimensions are 100% before we save the file. Go to Options and we can say recalculate all the figure dimensions. It's just going to ask you to confirm that you want to recalculate, and we say yes. You can also go and you can say update all figure areas, and the program will update all the figure areas, recalculate the dimensions so that you can be 100% sure that the information in there is correct. I need to add an excluded figure in this file because of the street figure. You will see the street figure is my last figure, Erf number 62. I add a new figure and select the area it represents. For the excluded figure, the Erf number needs to be the same as the figure it needs to be excluded from. Change the figure type to excluded figure. That's all that needs to be done. Now the software knows to exclude this area from Erf 62. Save the Erven file. We have now entered everything into the Erven file that will be required to create the general plan. When you're creating diagrams, the Erven file principle stays the same. You will only use the Erf figure definition without any main figures or block corners. You will still be defining figures and defining your servitude, reference marks and Trigs. Watch our next video that will help you then to create a cadastral plan by using the Erven file which we've created in this video. That's it for this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to hit the bell icon to get notified when we upload new content.